Hey you guys, Katsumi here, episode 3. Wow, we managed to keep this going monthly so far. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The creator may skip a month or two. Who knows? Before you ask, no, we still haven't watched The Witches. Might not happen till either A, they put it on HBO channel, on cable, or B, Lexis finally gets creator to agree to get HBO Max. I see A happening before B. They're stubborn. I keep telling you to ask after bills are paid. Anyway, I believe it was requested by Sugure we talk about 2 things. 1, the comic we read, and 2, the shutdown of a certain webcomic hosting site. Let's start with the comic. It's Lucifer, Cold Heaven. Short of it is, God is dead, Metatron has Gabriel go after Lucifer because he's the last one that saw God. Would it be in bad taste if that made me happy just a little? What the hell? Yes, Lexis, it's in poor taste. Mostly because God is your stepmom in our universe. Oh, fine. And no, I don't want L'Oreal dead. Her job position could die, though. Anyway, Gabriel finds Lucifer and fight proceeds. Though Lucifer didn't actually kill God, as he said, if God was dead, he'd know. And he'd definitely know if he killed God. And ends up taking Gabriel to hell to find answers. And who finds out that Lucy is back? Mazikeen, Queen of Hell. Now there's like 3 other stories going on. 2 kids watching a house burn, while the guy's talking about seeing an angel, who's also leaving school because the angel feather is pulling him to go somewhere, and one of a woman with a jar of demon inside. I have a jar of demon, I have a jar of demon. I wouldn't be surprised. Yes, well, she's listening to it. Sort of. Anyway, then the 3rd story is with a young girl that got adopted by a family that are a strict religious family and don't actually seem to like the girl at all. Yeah, assholes. Anyway, I'm not going to go into too much details. But yes, at certain points, the 3 stories meet up. Crazy lady with demon jar and the girl cross paths first, with the lady trying to kill them and managing to kill one of the siblings that was with her before the lady killed herself. And the girl taking the demon jar, not to open, just to keep it from getting into the wrong hands. And the girl running into the teenage boy with the feather at a bus stop after running away. And Lucifer's coming into it too because of that jar. And there's fighting and stuff, and at the end, the girl is fine and is at where she was running to, her brother's home. And Lucifer's story continues on. And there's another story, but it doesn't really have much to do with the main storyline of this particular series. If you haven't noticed, the TV show that's on Netflix, Lucifer, is, well, I want to say either inspired by or loosely based off of this comic. Yes, there's Lucifer. Yes, there's Mazikeen. And yeah, guess we should try to read the original comics to see. But actually, this isn't a bad one to start off with. The art is well done. This definitely isn't for kids. Let me repeat myself. This isn't for kids. Due to the violent and nude content, no, there's no lewd body parts swinging about. But Lucifer is naked, and despite that, this Lucifer and Dad are 2 different Lucifers. It still feels wrong to say that, although the guy in the TV show is hot. And yet, there's a bit of him that reminds me of Dad. Man, you had to ruin that for me, didn't you? Anyway, the story is good. I did like the little stories that led back to the main story and their version of what hell looks like. I'd probably read more when I get a chance. What about you, Lexis and Sugure? The story worked well. It certainly flowed well. I liked the girl. Her story was interesting. And sad to say, I can honestly see this in our creator's universe. Borderline abuse just because she isn't as young as they thought she would be, and that for some reason the parents thought that she would bring demons from her home country with her. At least the sister the girl did save started to question whether her parents were right or not. I guess. Anyway, granted, I do like the main story. It's a rather interesting idea. But as I said, I like the girls a little more. The art is good, and I can at least see details when it's shaded darkly. Even though I'm not into comic books like Dad, Lexis, and Uncle Kurt, I would read the second one. Alright, Lexis? I love the art. The anatomy is decent in this. The stories... I thought the whole teenage boy in feather was slightly corny. I get why, but to leave because a feather is pulling you to leave? Maybe if they threw that he had a premonition or something. I mean, it's been done. But to go somewhere you have no idea where you're going, why you're going based on a feeling you got from a feather that might have come from an angel, that's a bit of a stretch. Also, that last story, the art for that is interesting, but there's no to be continued for it to go into the next book. So I see no point in it. I mean, the short of it is, it's about Lucifer's son. Why? I mean, I guess it kinda connects. More towards Mazikeen. But that's it. So I don't really see a point in ending comic with that. Other than that, yeah, I'd read more. With that done, it's time to discuss something. See, back in 2008, our creator joined a little webcomic hosting site called Smackjeeves. That's where they posted the comic our universe based on, Deadline, and for 11 years they posted their comic. Did the Secret Santa they had and read other webcomics as well. It was a nice and good community. Then the site got sold to NHN. From what I understand, they weren't supposed to change much of anything about the site. They were even planning to do a mobile app for it. But they messed everything up, changed everything that was good about the website, and when they weren't getting their money's worth, as of this month, they're closing the site permanently. So when they made the changes to have everyone's site to look generic and boring, a lot of those vets that've been there since year one or close to it jumped ship, including our creator. So in other words, the new owners lied, changed things for the worse, and killing the site. A well-designed, well-loved by the original owner and creators alike, website. NHN, you screwed up. You screwed yourselves, you screwed the website, and screwed all the creators that have put much love and effort to making it fun. Good job, you morons! Luckily, our creator and many others moved to another site that is the closest to Smackjeeves, and was even willing to help those creators who wanted to still have all the custom work they put into their site be able to put up. Our creator has spent this year doing comic cleanup and finally putting logos on the comics. So as soon as everything is up to date, by next year, finally, our story can continue and they'll happily tell you. Now, is there any fun holiday stuff we can discuss before we end this episode? I know! Favorite versions of A Christmas Carol! Go! Oh my gods, there's so many. Do I have to pick only one? No more than 3. Okay, then Muppets Christmas Carol, Disney's cartoon Christmas Carol, and 1984's A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott. Really? The first 2 are fun. The Disney cartoon told the story amazingly for what little time they had to tell it. The Muppets had an amazing talent and puppet work in it. George C. Scott version is visually pleasing, and the actor himself was amazing. All right, Sugar, I know one of them, but top 3? Muppets Scrooged with Bill Murray and Sir Patrick Stewart's version. Somehow, I'm not surprised. Almost. Scrooged? I mean, don't get me wrong, Bill Murray is awesome. But you? It's a decent adaptation of a modern version. Most of them tend to take place in the era it was written. Other than the one with the Flintstones, and it does do a good job modernizing the story, it's also a little silly. But that's okay. If it was too serious, it wouldn't be nearly as enjoyable. What about you, Lexis? Well, of course, the Muppets, Patrick Stewart, and A Christmas Carol with Guy Pearce. Wait, that's a really dark version that you had me watch with you, right? Yep. But there's no redemption. Nothing light or kind to balance out how dark it is. Exactly! Scrooge getting redemption shouldn't be so easy or quick. Don't get me wrong, I love the original story. I love how he's betrayed in so many movies and his transformation. But in this version, they couldn't make him light and giddy with how he's written in this. For him to go from cold, heartless, and calculative to a gay schoolboy, it doesn't really make sense. There needs to be time. There needs to be time for the fact that he's done people wrong and that he needs to change to sink in. Change doesn't happen all in one day for some, and forgiveness isn't as easily given out for some too. That's one of the parts that I like. Mrs. Cratchit not willing to forgive Scrooge like everyone else normally does in other versions. For what he had done to her, just so she could afford medical for her son? She has every right to not forgive him. So yes, it's the darkest version I've ever seen, and it hits certain things hard. But that's what's great. They weren't afraid to go dark with this. But at the same time, they didn't go so dark it's unwatchable. And honestly, I'd like to watch it again. But it's only on twice back to back. And on Hulu. And that's enough. Please. Anyway. Okay. One other Christmas version, and then 3 favorite Christmas movies that aren't these ones. The Nutcracker. Is there really that many versions of it? Not really. And not many good ones either. But let's see. I like the ballet version best, actually. Is that a movie, though? Never said it had to be. Just like you didn't say A Christmas Carol had to be favorite movie. Your darker version isn't a movie. It's a mini-series. Touché. Sugar, want to say it together? Or do you just want to say it for the both of us? Go ahead and say it, Lexis. I know you want to. Yay! The Nutcracker Prince, a 1990s film and cat showed us many years ago in our universe. But happy that it exists here. I went ahead and looked it up. It looks like some of the voice actors didn't do much after. Kiefer Sutherland, voice of the Nutcracker, did voice work for a few video games, TV shows, movies, and most recent, an episode of TV series Creepshow. And Peter O'Toole, voiced Petalune, he did a lot after. But most might recognize him as the voice of Anton Ego from Ratatouille. Wait, seriously? A movie about a wild mouse becoming a chef. Alright, I guess that's a thing here. And yet, I bet he can do creative cooking better than Dad. Anyone else? Yes, Phyllis Diller. She voiced the Mouse Queen. Creator gave me the notes on her, and she did a lot of voice work in the 90s and early 2000s cartoons. TV shows like Seventh Heaven, Even Stevens, A Bug's Life. She was also the queen in that too. Seems her most recent was a soap opera, The Bold and the Beautiful. Honestly, it makes sense why this is actually really good, and yet they don't play it on TV. The art is wonderful. Some of it could be considered its own illustration. It's beautifully done. The acting is good and the music is amazing. And there's no lyrics in the music. Almost. Though, I do have to point out, the artwork does change. But only in the part that a story is being told, and I like that. It's a good way to show that a story is being told within a story. And yet the art in that part is still rather fun. It would be nice that they played it again. Apparently in this universe, you can find it on YouTube. But that's it. Anyway, do we have time for favorite holiday movies? Sure, but let's keep it short. Lexis? Christmas Chronicles Part 1 and 2. Don't care if they're separate movies, I'm counting both under one slot. A Christmas Horror Story and The Grinch, live-action version. Sugar? Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, The Polar Express, and Home Alone. Katsumi? Christmas Chronicles 1 and 2, Arthur Christmas, and The Year Without a Santa Claus. Wait a minute! I thought you liked Lexis. Hush! But why? I love Christmas in Handcuffs. I thought you did too. Wait, what? It's a rom-com. It's entertaining. Not my top 3 faves, but definitely top 10. Moving on. With that said, Katsumi, come on, be honest. Do you like it or you watch it because of me? Yeah, I kind of like it. Yay! With that said, I believe we will end this episode here. Anything to say? Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year. Please be safe and kind to each other, and hopefully, next year won't suck. What she said. Bye, everyone.